A titan of infamy! Gregoire de Gorgon, Victor of Lassistoni!
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at instances where elements from Game of Thrones crossed over into video games. However, we're not including any actual tie-ins like the Telltale series. And since some of these games reference key moments in the show, we'll go ahead and issue a spoiler warning just in case.
Well said. I was beginning to worry you didn't have your priorities straight.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Facing No One, MultiVersus. We'll start with the obvious one. There are plenty of excellent fighters in the world of Game of Thrones, but when Warner Bros. Put together the roster for their crossover fighting game, MultiVersus, they went with the popular, faceless assassin, Arya Stark. Naturally, Arya is one of the quicker characters to choose from. She's the type of combatant that can poke you full of holes and dash to the other side of the arena before you know what's hit you. While the downsides of limited range and low weight might steer some away, those who mastered her were a nightmare to deal with. Kingslayer, Middle-earth, Shadow of War.
Flock.
Like the first game, Middle-earth Shadow of War uses the Nemesis system, tracking enemies that make significant impressions in battle, bringing them back later with new characteristics. These may be physical, such as a scar, as well as a new title they've earned. All that to say, if you come across an enemy with the title of Kingslayer, you might notice they also have a prosthetic hand. This, of course, is a reference to Jaime Lannister, commonly referred to as the Kingslayer much to his resentment, and the fact that he had a prosthetic hand for most of the series. Knowing the reasoning behind his nickname, naming some monstrous foes after him is a little harsh. The Doorstop, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. This one is admittedly small, but is nevertheless worth a sad chuckle. The Binding of Isaac has seen more than its fair share of content added since launch, including a plethora of helpful items one can unlock on a run. Added in 2015's Afterbirth Plus expansion was the Doorstop, which keeps the last door you went through open, so you can leave a room if need be. The item comes attached with the description "Hold the Door," equating one of the show's most heartbreaking deaths to a simple item. It's just the type of delectably dark joke we'd expect from a game like this. Winter is a bloody business. Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep.
Who dares enter my court with weapons drawn? Guards, kill them!
Plenty of fans wanted to give Joffrey a slap during the show's run, and this Borderlands 2 DLC gave them the best alternative. One of the quests you could take on was Winter is a Bloody Business, where you had to defeat the rotten Prince Jeffrey, found in a very familiar-looking throne room. First, you had to deal with his guards, K9 and Molehill, silly stand-ins for the Hound and the Mountain. Afterwards, Jeffrey, like his inspiration, cowers like a baby while you complete the quest by smacking him. Thankfully, the developers gave us the option to do it a few more times before wrapping things up.
You could just wait for the show to catch up, though, or that's fine.
What the hell are you people talking about?
The Watcher on the Wall, Just Cause 3.
Ever since they built this thing, I say someday Mario Frigo is going to stand on top of this wall and urinate off the edge of the world.
When the open-world playground Just Cause 3 was released, developer Avalanche chose to make a few references to one of the most famous locations in Westeros. At a certain point, Rico will be tasked with helping the rebellion defend a section of a massive wall. The mission, titled The Watcher on the Wall, is an obvious nod to the Night's Watch and their own wall. Funnily enough, though, the mission begins with Rico meeting his ally Mario, who is peeing off the edge of the world, as he puts it. Another nod, not to a member of the Night's Watch, but to Tyrion, who did the same thing for the exact same reason.
It's either me or this cold, and it doesn't appear to be going anywhere.
A Spear of Another Name, Assassin's Creed Origins. This is another small one, but still a loving reference to one of the franchise's most memorable weapons. In Assassin's Creed Origins, you can purchase or find a rare spear called Needle, with a description that reads, "Stick 'em with the pointy end." This, of course, is a reference to Arya's sword of the same name, made for her by her brother Jon, and a phrase that helped define her early arc. In-game, it can inflict bleeding on an enemy and deals high critical damage, so we'd say it's pretty fitting knowing the character. Brothers in Black and White. World of Warcraft, Mists of Pandaria.
We are the sword in the shadows.
World of Warcraft has been around a long time, and has featured references to multiple fantasy franchises over the years. There are too many nods to Game of Thrones to list, from mission titles to achievements to characters and voice lines. However, one of our favorites came with the 2012 expansion, Mists of Pandaria. The most notable additions were the Monk class and the Pandaren, a new race of humanoid pandas. A new location linked to the race was the Serpent's Spine, a gigantic wall with its own Watchers. Interacting with them, they'll recite "We are the Watchers on the Wall" and "We are the Sword in the Shadows," referencing the oath of the Night's Watch.
I shall wear no crowns and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post.
One fantasy to another. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. There's a good amount of crossover between Westeros and the continent. At a fortress in the Skellig Isles, you can find a dead dwarf in a sky cell, referencing Tyrion's stay in a similar location at the Eyrie. You can also get a sword named Longclaw, a reference to Jon Snow's sword of the same name. In the Blood and Wine DLC, the dialogue of children in Toussaint will reference the Stark children. One may say they dreamt of being a wolf, while another will speak of a sword from their brother named Needle.
Is it true? Is winter coming?
Additionally, the side quest The Warble of a Smitten Knight ends with a tourney fight against Gregoire de Gorgon, literally Sir Gregor the Mountain, as this knight is named for Toussaint's Mount Gorgon. Mother of Grogans, Borderlands 3. You probably thought we were done with Borderlands, but there's another great reference to Game of Thrones in the third game, and to a character we haven't talked about yet. In the Anvil, you can head to the West of Gross area, Westeros, to possibly encounter a rare mini-boss named the Mother of Grogans, or as her other titles read, the Uncorroded and Queen of the Sewer Kingdom. Clearly, she's a reference to Daenerys Targaryen and her many titles, and fittingly comes with 3 dragon-like Grogans as backup. In a reference to the fact that one of Dany's children was corrupted by the Night King, one of this mother's kids deals ice damage instead of fire. A sword for a king. Elden Ring. Since A Song of Ice and Fire creator George R.R. Martin worked on Elden Ring, it's no surprise there's a reference to his work in the game. Inside Castle Morn, you can fight the optional boss, Leonine Misbegotten, a humanoid lion that stole the castle's treasured sword. After the fight, you get the Grafted Blade Greatsword, a huge weapon made up of multiple blades. Having a lion character steal a treasured item made up of fused swords only brings the Lannisters and their thirst for the Iron Throne to mind. And it's a fittingly From Software representation for part of Martin's iconic world. Know of any other times Game of Thrones made its way into other games?
Really? I heard they get kind of butt.
I mean, kinda, but there's still some good scenes.
Share them with us in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great gaming videos every day.